or tabernacle with the Jewish people in the desert.
犹太人庆祝这个节，因为神选择了要在帐篷之中与他们同在。
We say that God took pleasure in making his presence known among the Jewish people while they were wandering in the desert.
我们可以说，神很喜乐，当犹太人在旷野中漂流的时候，神愿意向他们显现。
We say that he tabernacled with the Jewish people and that he was present with them even in the midst of their rebellion.
你可以说，在他们的叛逆当中，神仍然与他们同在，住在他们中间。
And so the lesson that we have.
那今天我们所要讲的
Okay, it's not working. There we go. The lesson that we see in the Feast of Tabernacles is that he is often silent, but he is there. He tabernacles with us.
祝棚节就提醒我们，虽然很多时候神好像在那里静默没有声音，但神是住在我们中间的。
And so the Jewish people experienced his presence, but they also experienced his silence while he dwelt with them in the desert.
犹太人就神与他们同在，但他们在旷野当中也经历了神的静默。
So the lesson for us is that his silence is not his absence.
你可以说神静默，并不是说神不在了。
He tabernacles with us even in the midst of silence.
其实，在静默当中，神还是与我们同住。
He takes pleasure in making his presence known even in silence.
即使神在很方面，神都很愿意让我们知道他是与我们同在的。
And we see this tradition in the Psalms and in the Old Testament. Psalm 83, God, don't remain silent. Don't turn a deaf ear. Don't stand aloof.
在诗篇的83篇1节，这里也说到了，神啊，不要静默，也不要向我们转离你的耳朵，求你不要距离我们这么远。
This is our experience as well. It's not just the experience of the ancient writer. We experience the silence of God and the aloofness of God.
你可以说我们自己的话，我们有同样的经历，我们也经历了神的寂寞，我们也好像经历了神的远离。
Psalm 13, How long, Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me?
诗篇13篇也说到了，神啊，还有多久？你要忘记我多久？到永远吗？你还有多久的时间？你要隐藏你的面容？
This is our experience as well, isn't it?
这不就是我们自己同样的经验吗？
Habakkuk, How long, Lord, must I call for your help, but you do not listen?
在哈巴谷书1章就说：“神啊，我呼求你了这么久，寻求帮助，你为什么还没有垂听呢？”
And Psalm 10, Why, Lord, do you stand far off? Why do you hide yourself in times of trouble?
然后诗篇10篇也说了：“神啊，你为什么站得这么远？为什么当我们在困难的时候，你还是要隐藏你自己？”
Psalm 6, Lord, don't rebuke me in your anger, or discipline me in your wrath. Have mercy on me. I am faint. Heal me, Lord. My bones are in agony. My soul is in anguish. How long, Lord? How long?
诗篇6篇也说到了：“主啊，不要在你的愤怒当中责备我，也不要在你的愤怒当中来责备我、训练我。主啊，怜悯我。主啊，我现在非常的软弱，求你医治我。神啊，我的骨头也酸痛，我的心灵也非常的哀伤。主啊，还有多久？还有多久？”
And finally, Psalm 17, I call on you, my God. You'll answer me. Turn your ear to me. Hear my prayer.
诗篇17篇也说：“神啊，我向你呼求，主啊，求你回应我，求你从你的耳朵转向我，主啊，垂听我的祷告。”
And so paradoxically, we acknowledge his presence, but also acknowledge the fact that he often seems far off and silent.
我们可以说神与我们同在，但有时候我们也承认，神有时候与我们也蛮远的。
And so you share in that rich heritage of the Hebrew prophets.
所以我们就在同样分享到犹太人他们这样子的生预言。
God still revealed himself in his silence.
在神的静默当中，神仍然有他的显现。
He was present with them through the festivals of Israel.
所以在以色列所有节期当中，神是与他们同在的。
And that is your heritage as well because of Christ.
这也是因为在基督里，我们有同样的传承。
So all the biblical holidays point to Christ and his new covenant.
所以所有圣经里面的节期，都是讲到基督和讲到基督的约。
All of these festivals were to lead Israel to the Savior.
所有的这些节期，都是把以色列人带到他们的救主那里。
They all find their fulfillment in Christ and his new covenant.
你都可以在主耶稣和他的新约里面找到所有这些的实现。
And today we're going to look at the last great festival, the Feast of Tabernacles.
今天我们就会看到所有节期中的最后一个祝棚节。
Jesus celebrated this feast and he applied its meaning to himself.
主耶稣也有庆祝了这个节期，而且他把这个节期应用在他自己的身上。
Sukkot is also a prophetic festival as it looks forward to the final ingathering of the harvest.
你可以说这个祝棚节是在他们所有收成之后所要庆祝的最后一个节期。
So we're going to see the institution of this feast in Leviticus chapter 23.
我们可以在利未记23章说到神如何设立这一个节期。
Do you want to just read it in Chinese?
好 ，OK。然后主告诉摩西说：“哦，你要告诉以色列的子民说了，在7月15日这一天，然后你要在我的面前守节7日。” And the second verse?
Did you read the whole thing?
Oh, not the second one yet. 然后呢，在7月15号，你们要这是在利未记23章。然后在节期的第1日，你必须要有盛会；然后在第8日，你也要有盛会。然后呢，你要拿树上的果子，然后你要拿棕树的树枝，然后你要拿丰富树的树干，以及你要拿到河边的柳枝。然后呢，你要在我面前一同喜乐，你要与神一起同乐7天。然后你要在祝棚节与神一起庆祝，在每年要与神一同庆祝7日。这个是我与你的后代所立的永例，然后你要一同在7月份一同庆祝。然后利未记23继续的，然后呢，你要住在帐篷里面7日，然后所有以色列自己所生的都必须住在帐篷的里面。然后呢，你们就知道说了，当你们还在埃及流浪的时候，是我耶和华神把以色列的子民带着他们住在帐篷的里面。
So this is the origin of the festival from Leviticus 23.
这个就是在利未记里面所提到这个节期的开始。
There are 2 commands in this festival that we see. We're going to look at the commands and how they were to be fulfilled.
在这个节期里面，神就给了2个命令，我们就会看到这2个命令，神最后怎么样实现了。
The purpose of Sukkot is simply to remember.
祝棚节第一个命令就是来纪念。
It says there, live in booths so that your descendants will know.
他说你要住在帐篷里，是让你的后代可以知道。
God simply wanted his people to remember what he had done.
神就是要他的子民记得神到底为你们做了什么。
He brought them out of bondage and slavery to Pharaoh, and he tabernacled with them.
神把他们从埃及的奴役当中救出来，神就与他们同住。
How can we teach our children? We'll ask questions later. It means a booth,
Tabernacle 就像是一个帐篷。
but we can take questions later. How are we going to be able to teach our children what God had done if we ourselves have forgotten?
如果我们自己都忘记了，我们怎么可以教导我们的后代来想起来神为我们做了什么呢？
So the command is first to remember,
所以神的命令第一个记得，
and then it's to rejoice. Rejoice before the Lord your God.
所以第二个就是在你主你的神前面喜乐。
Don't rejoice a little, rejoice a lot. Rejoice for 7 days.
不是有点小小的喜乐，乃是要有极大的喜乐，而且有喜乐7天。
Now there's 2 ways that we are to remember and rejoice.
有2个路，你可以记得，而且你也可以喜乐。
The first way that we remember and rejoice is by taking fruit and palm fronds and branches and rejoice.
一个喜乐的方法就是你可以拿了树枝、拿着水果、拿着柳条、拿着枝条，然后来喜乐。
Now we're going to talk about that later. The first way that we remember and rejoice is by building these booths.
所以我们第一个喜乐的方法就可以盖一个这样子的棚子。
So when people think of tabernacles, they often will remember these booths.
当人想到祝棚节，就想到这样子的棚子。
It's called a sukkah or a tabernacle or a booth.
所以你可以说那个原文就是苏卡，或者就是帐篷，或者一个这个棚子。
It's typically in people's backyard, and you can see it's made of flimsy walls and a roof of palm fronds.
你可以说他们的屋子呢，就是拿一些木板，然后上面是拿一些那个叫棕树条，然后做的。
God commanded that the children of Israel live in these huts for 1 week every year.
神就命令他的子民，你要住在这样子的房子里面7天。
Some are simple, others are more elaborate. This one here is a little bit more elaborate.
你说这些就是比较豪华或不一样的。
Often you'll see them in people's backyards. So if you go to a Jewish neighborhood in Ottawa, you'll see these booths in people's backyards this week.
有时候就是在这一个礼拜，你如果去你的附近有犹太人居住的地区，在他们家的后院可能就有盖这样子的一个亭子。
Or sometimes in a local synagogue, you'll see them in people in the parking lot.
如果你去他们的会堂的话，会堂的停车场也会有这样子的棚子
They're，often decorated according to the energy and imagination of the children of the neighborhood.
他们就会根据那些小孩子对这里的想象或各种的来装饰不同的样子。
And often from the top, you hang fruit from the final harvest.
然后呢，通常从这个上面呢，你就会垂掉一些你当年所收成的。
I have examples of that here, which is grape and figs and pear and pomegranates and dates.
这里就有一些其中我们可以收获的，比如说有葡萄、有番石榴，然后有梨。
So in Israel, there's not room in people. There's no backyards in Israel. People live in apartments.
在以色列呢，我们没有后院，但是每个人都住在公寓的里面。
So you can see they build them as an extension of their patio.
你就可以说，他们讲就把这个房子帐篷就从他们的房子延伸出去，
Or they'll be on people's roofs of their apartments.
或者有人可能在他们公寓的这个房顶，他们就盖个棚子。
So this one is very simple, just made of wood and then palm fronds on the top.
然后这个就好像是只有木条搭起来，上面铺了棕树枝。
People will, in cold weather climates, will just go out at night and say prayers and have their meals with fruit salad from the final harvest.
然后如果比较冷的话，他们就会晚上就去到那里面，大家一起聚餐，吃沙拉，然后吃一点水果。
Israel as well, you can see they're very creative and building them on the second floor of their balconies.
然后你可以说以色列他们也很有创意，他们可以在他们的2楼搭建一个这个帐篷。
And this is in New York City,
然后这是在纽约市，
so there's no room on the roof, and so they build them on their patios on their apartments.
所以他们那里呢没有屋顶，所以他们就在他们家这个小阳台搭建。
Here as well in New York, they put them on their patios.
这也是在纽约就在他们公寓的阳台上面搭建。
God simply commanded that the children of Israel build these booths so that we would remember.
神就给他们命令说，以色列子民应该盖这样子的房子，为了来纪念神。
He delivered us out of slavery, out of the land of bondage.
因为他把我们从奴役，把我们从为奴之地给救出来了。
Over and over again, God identifies himself this way as the Lord who brought them out of Egypt.
一次又一次的神告诉他们说，我就是把你们从埃及地领出来的神。
It's easy to forget what God has done, and this is a way that we remember.
很容易我们就会忘记神所做的，所以这是一个让我们记得神所做的方法。
So the tabernacle points to God's provision of his presence.
所以这个祝棚节这个棚子就说出了神对我们的供应。
He dwelt with the Jewish people in the desert for 40 years.
神在旷野与以色列子民一起同住了40年。
We wandered for 40 years because of our lack of faith, but we did not wander alone.
我们在旷野漂流40年，因为我们有不幸，但是我们却不是独自的在那边漂流。
And so he takes pleasure in making his presence known even in a rebellious people.
所以，其实在这些叛逆的神当中，神还是很高兴让他们知道他的同在。
He may have been silent, but he was present.
神虽然可能静默，但是神是与他们同在的。
God simply made a place for himself amongst a rebellious people.
所以，神在这些叛逆的子民中间，为他自己预备了一个住所。
And that's why he told us to build booths.
这就是为什么神要我们搭一个帐篷。
But also, I think that he wanted us to reflect on the temporary nature of the booth.
但神要提醒我们，讲到帐幕这个临时的，
So by living outside for 1 week every year, we're reminded that we are temporary.
所以呢，每年如果你有7天住在外面，就提醒了自己，我们在地上只是一个临时的。
That the booth is temporary, that the world is temporary.
帐幕是临时的，这个世界对我们来说都是临时的，
That nothing is permanent.
没有一件是存到永远的。
And that you can't put your hope or your faith in the things of the world which will let you down.
要提醒我们，不要把你的盼望放在世界的东西，因为那些是会让你失望的。
The world can't do it. It was never meant to do it. And so you put your hope and faith in something that's permanent.
所以呢，世界的东西是不会给你存在任何永远的。所以要提醒你们，把你的心思要放在永存的事上。
The natural outcome of all of this remembering is rejoicing.
所以所有这些的想念，最终带来的就是极大的喜乐。
And that is why this is called the season of our rejoicing.
所以这就是这是我们要喜乐的时期。
So we remember and rejoice by building the booth.
所以借着搭这个帐篷，我们就记得纪念神，我们也喜乐。
We also remember and rejoice by taking fruit from the trees, palm fronds, branches, and rejoicing before the Lord.
所以我们也记得呢，我们是借着取树枝的枝条，锯了棕树枝，锯着那个各种的树条，以及借着柳枝，我们喜乐。
So by doing that, we take 2 traditional items from the Near East.
所以我们就从最近的近东拿出了这样子2个的象征。
This is called a lulav,
这个就叫做 lulav，
and this is called an etrog.
这个叫做 entron。
The lulav is actually 3 branches.
那这个 lulav 里面其实是有3种的枝条组成的，
In the center, we have a palm branch.
中间的话是棕树枝。
The palm branch represents the spine or the backbone.
你可以棕树枝好像就象征像我们的脊椎，我们所支持的。
Okay, this is a willow branch.
这是 willow 树的那个树叶。
And the willow branch reminds us of our lips.
这个就说出了我们的四肢，我们的腿，
Lips.
我们嘴唇。
Right. Now, this branch here is called a myrtle branch.
那是一个 myrtle 树的树
Myrtle
枝，
branch. And this reminds us of our eyes.
就提醒了我们的眼睛。
So this is all bound together in something called a lulav, which represents our spine, our lips, and our eyes.
它这个就是用这个 lula 这个把它绑在一起，就象征了我们的脊椎、我们的嘴唇以及我们的眼睛。
Now, this is a Middle Eastern fruit, which represents our heart.
然后这个水果呢，象征了我们的心。
So these are very, very prominent in the fall season in the Middle East.
在中东的话，在秋天，这几个非常有名的出产。
So we see God takes us to take the fruit from the trees, palm fronds, branches, and rejoice before the Lord your God.
所以这为什么神说你要拿了这个棕树枝的枝条，拿了水果的出产，然后在神面前喜乐。
So we hold this together, which represents all of our body, our heart, our lips, our eyes, and our spine.
我们把它们握在手中，就象征把我们的心、把我们的眼、把我们的嘴、把我们的整个人都摆在这里。
And we enter into the tabernacle, the presence of God.
然后我们进入帐幕，进入神的同在中。
And we acknowledge that He owns all of our bodies.
我们就承认了他拥有我们的全人。
And then we go into the tabernacle and we wave it to the north and the south and the east and the west
然后我们就进去了，向北、向东、向南、向西敬拜，
to acknowledge that God owns every direction,
也承认说神拥有我们所有四周的一切，
to acknowledge that He owns the heavens above and the earth below,
也承认说神拥有天，神也拥有地，
that He owns our heart and our spine, our lips and our eyes.
他也拥有我们的心、我们的脊椎、我们的眼跟我们的口。
And by entering into the booth and acknowledging that He owns you and He owns all the directions, and you remember that, you rejoice.
然后，所以当你进入帐篷的时候，你就记起来了，神拥有我，神拥有所有的一切，你在那里就纪念神。
You remember and you rejoice that even in the midst of being temporary, you are owned by the God and King of the universe who is permanent.
即使虽然所有一切事情好像都是临时的，但你就提醒你是被一个永存的神所掌有的。
He owns you and He owns all the directions. He owns the heavens and the earth.
神拥有你，神拥有一切，神拥有天，神也拥有地。
So Jesus celebrated this holiday.
所以耶稣也庆祝了这个祝棚节。
By the time of the first century, this was a holiday of very great importance, and it was simply called the feast.
然后呢，在新约刚开始的时候呢，这是一个非常重要的节期，甚至称为纳节期。
And John chapter 7 takes place during the feast of Sukkot.
所以在约翰福音7章讲到，就是在祝棚节期间所发生的。
In John 7, the Jewish leaders were opposing Jesus.
在约翰7章，那所有的犹太人的领袖反对他，
His disciples go up to Jerusalem without him.
所以他的门徒就去了耶路撒冷，而没有与主同去。
Now remember that this was one of the great 3 pilgrim great festivals, the 3 festivals of the year when all the Jewish men went up to Jerusalem.
那个是以色列3个大奇期之一，所有以色列人都应该要去耶路撒冷的。
And because this was the end of the harvest season, there was a great number of pilgrims celebrating the end of the harvest in Jerusalem.
因为那个刚好是收藏的最后的节期，所以所有的以色列人都聚集到耶路撒冷，载着他们的丰盛的收入。
The population of Jerusalem increased by an enormous magnitude. There was a huge festival and party and rejoicing going on.
所以在以色列在耶路撒冷的时候，就有非常多的人在那里庆祝，在那里喜乐。
So Jesus eventually goes up to Jerusalem in silence. He finds himself there. He begins to teach and preach in the Temple Mount in John chapter 7.
所以在约翰7章，主耶稣就自己安安静静的进入了耶路撒冷，然后在耶路撒冷那里殿里面向民众说话。
And then at the end of John 7, this is what happens.
在约翰7章的结束，这里就记载了。
Read John 7:37 to 38.
在节期的最后一日，就是最大的日子，耶稣站起来，然后大声的说：“让所有那些口渴的到我这里来喝，所有信入我的人，从他们腹中必要流出活水的江河来。”
So it's the last day of the feast. It's the great day of the feast.
你可以说是节期的最后一日，也是最大的一日。
And Jesus is talking about water and the scriptures,
耶稣也说到了水，说到了圣经，
and that all of this points to him.
所有这一切都指向了他自己。
Well, what's going on? Why does he say these things? And what's happening on this last day?
为什么在最后一日？为什么主耶稣要说这个？在最后一日到底发生了什么？
Well, you need to know on the last day of the feast, something special was happening.
在这个节期的最后一日，是有些特别的事情的。
It was the water drawing or the water pouring ceremony.
你可以说是一个取水或是一个倒水的庆祝的时期。
This was a large parade led by the high priest.
你可以说那是由大祭司所率领的一个庆祝的行列。
The high priest left the temple, followed by a huge parade of professional worshipers and dancers and singers and musicians.
那时候大祭司会从圣殿走出去，跟着他后面是专业的唱歌的、跳舞的、庆祝的。
And crowds are following him, waving branches and giving thanks to God for the provision of the harvest.
然后群众就跟在他们的后面挥舞了棕树枝，然后在那里高声赞美神，因为神丰富的赐予了他们。
And the priest walks down the hill from the temple to the pool of Siloam with a huge group of partiers and parade worshipers singing and dancing behind him.
然后祭司就会从殿里面走到希罗亚的池子，一路上在你看到都是群众在那里喜乐，在那里庆祝，在那里跳舞。
And he goes to the pool of Siloam and he draws some water in a golden pitcher.
然后他会用一个金的水罐到那个池子里面取水。
And then this parade of singers and dancers and musicians and people winds its way right back up the hill to the temple.
然后所有那些唱歌的、跳舞的，就会跟着祭司再重新走到耶路撒冷山上去。
And there's a huge basin waiting for the high priest when he gets to the temple.
然后当他重新回到店里的时候，在那里就有一个水瓶或水盆已经预备好了。
And the high priest takes the pitcher of water and he pours it into that basin.
然后大祭司就会拿着那个水瓶、那个金瓶子，然后把水倒进这个盆中。
There was a huge sense of messianic expectation associated with this parade and the pouring out of water.
当他们在那里庆祝跳舞，在这个倒水的时候，其实他们心中是有一个很大的期盼的。
The ceremony was designed to thank God for his bounty, for his provision, and to ask him to provide rain over the winter.
所以他们在这里呢，所有这些庆祝神目前已经丰收，给了我们这么多的丰富的赐予，他们求神冬天能够给他们雨水。
The pouring out of water is associated with the messianic expectation that the people had.
其实到这个水就说出他们对弥赛亚这个所有的期盼。
The writers of the Old Testament saw the pouring out of water as a sign of God's presence.
你可以说，在旧约的申言者的书信，这样子倒水就说到了神的同在。
Water was connected with messianic hope and salvation and the outpouring of God's Spirit.
你可以说，这个水就连到了弥赛亚这个救恩，然后水的倒出来就说到神的同在。
Isaiah the prophet wrote these words, "With joy you will draw water from the well of salvation."
所以在以赛亚这里就说到，你要从救恩的泉源欢然取水。
So this notion of pouring water is associated with the coming of the Messiah, the kingdom of God, the work of the Spirit, and the outpouring of the work of God.
你可以说，这个倒水就出来了神的同在，然后说到这个救恩的来临，也说到神的同在。
So it's no wonder that at that very moment, on that very day, when the priest was pouring out the water, Jesus chose to say those words, "If anybody who is thirsty, let him come to me and drink. Whoever believes in me, as the scripture has said, as Isaiah says, rivers of living water will flow from within them."
就是当大祭司在那里倒水，当人在那里有盼望的时候，就是在那一个时候，主耶稣起来说了：“所有口渴人都到我这里来喝，因为就像圣经所记载的，到我这里喝的人，必有活水从他们里面涌流出来。”
So what was Jesus saying? He was saying, "This is all about me."
好像主耶稣说，这一切其实就是说到了我。
All that the prophet hopes for and longs for is found in me.
所有这些生人者所盼望、所期盼的，就是我。
He was saying that this festival points to my person, my work, my mission.
所有这些东西，其实就说到了我，说到了我的工作，说到了我的职事。
So water was a central image for the Feast of Sukkot.
所以可以在祝棚节，水就其中一个非常重要、中心的意义。
But so was light.
同样也是光。
Just like water, light was associated with Messiah and the pouring out of God's Spirit and the presence of His salvation.
所以说到光，也就说到了神，说到神赐下他的圣灵，说到神赐下他的救恩。
Read Isaiah 9 and Isaiah chapter 60.
所以以赛亚9章说了，在黑暗中行走的人有大光照着他们，那些坐在死荫黑暗里的人有光照着他们。然后以赛亚书60章1到2节，起来吧，然后愿光照耀你们，愿主的荣耀照在你的身上。主已经照在你的身上了，他的荣耀在你身上要显现出来。
Light is associated with messianic hope and expectation and the coming of the Spirit of God.
所以这个光就说出了他们对弥赛亚的盼望，说出了神的显现。
And that is why during this festival the temple was gloriously illuminated.
所以说在这个时期的话，整个殿是被照得很明亮的。
So I'm sorry, this is the best graphic that I could get, but you can see there's a huge candelabra in the courtyard of the temple.
你可以说在那个殿的院子当中，就有一个很大的那个烛台在那边照耀。
And on top of this huge 100-foot candelabra are 4 bowls blazing with oil and light and
然后在
fire.
那个100英尺长这个灯座的最上面有4个光的那个盆子，然后在里面有油在那里烧着。
And you can see the celebration and all the pilgrims, and here are the professional singers and dancers giving praise to God.
在那里，所有那些专门的唱歌的、跳舞的，在那里赞美神。
But according to historians, there were 4 of these 100-foot candelabras in the temple.
其实根据记载，在那时候的殿中有4个这样子的灯柱在那里。
So you have to imagine that there were 16 bowls of blazing light into the ancient Near Eastern sky.
你可以说，在那时候，在古时候的中东的殿里面，有16个那样子的灯在那里发光燃烧着。
Now you may wonder, how did they keep these 16 bowls of oil lit for 7 days?
你可能想，怎么可能让这16个这个灯在那里烧7天呢？
Well, you can see there's a ladder attached to the candelabra.
你可以说，这个灯台上面是有楼梯附着的。
And young men would climb up and down these ladders all day and all night, keeping these fires lit for 7 days.
然后那些年轻人每天从早到晚就会不停的在那个楼梯上上下下，不断的在那边注油，让这个灯烧着。
The light was to remind people of the presence of God in the temple.
这个光就提醒了在殿中神的同在，
That His glory and His presence fills that place.
然后他的显现，他的荣耀充满了这个地方。
But Jesus used it to remind them about who He was and His glory.
神也用这个来提醒他们，这什么是他的荣耀。
Just one chapter later, Jesus is probably standing there in the courtyard, and He says these words, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life.
然后在约翰福音的下一章，想要主耶稣反而就站在那殿里就说了，主耶稣就告诉他的人民说了，我是世上的光，所有到我这里来的人再也不会在黑暗中行走，他们必会得着生命的光。
Now, saying that you are the light of the world and the well of salvation is not saying that you're very smart.
在那个时候，你说你是世上的光，你是生命的源头，那不是一个很聪明的事情。
Saying that you're the light of the world and the well of salvation is not saying that you're a great or wise teacher.
在那时候，如果你说你是世上的光，你是救恩的泉源，并不表示你是一个聪明的老师。
Saying that you're the light of the world and the well of salvation is a claim to be the very glory of God.
在那时候，如果你说你是世上的光，是救恩的泉源，就是告诉人说你就是神。
He is the light of salvation. He is the well of salvation. He is the light of the world.
他就是世上的光，他就是救恩的泉源。
In Him is no darkness, and in Him is no thirst.
在他里面没有黑暗，在他里面也没有饥渴。
So this calendar that God gave to Israel not only points to the Messiah, but it points to something ahead.
其实，但是神不只是提醒以色列人这个时期，其实还有很多其他的意义。
This is a feast of the final ingathering, of the final harvest.
那也是以色列在最后收成的时候，最后庆祝的时期。
It looks forward to the final ingathering of those who will put their trust and be gathered into the ones who come to the foot of the King of Israel.
所以他那时候像所有那些对神有盼望的人，是在1年最后一次大家集合的时候。
The prophet Zechariah says that when wars end and God's kingdom is established, everybody will come to celebrate the Feast of Booths.
好像在撒迦利亚说了，当战争结束的时候，所有以色列人就会集合起来，然后一起来住在住棚节庆祝。
So read Zechariah 14,
所以
verse
撒迦利
16.
亚14章16节说的，所有列国之中来攻打耶路撒冷所幸存的人，必会在每年都会重新到 耶路撒冷来敬拜大君王以色列的神，然后到这里来守住棚节。
God asks all the nations of the world to come and celebrate the Feast of Booths.
神要求列国都要来耶路撒冷来守住棚节。
Well, how is that even possible?
那怎么可能呢？
Well, John gives us some more insight in Revelation chapter 21 and verse 3.
所
Please
以在
read.
启示录21章3节这里就说到了，在神的宝座有大声音出来说：“看啊，神的帐幕与人同在，他要住在他们中间，他要做他们的他们要做他的子民，而且神自己要住在他们的中间，他会擦去他们眼中一切的眼泪，然后他们再也不需要哀伤，然后他们再也不需要哭泣或流泪，也没有任何的痛苦，因为所有先前的事情都已经过去了。”
The tabernacle of God is among men, and he dwells amongst us.
所以神的帐幕在人中间，神与人同在。
So that booth that you saw in people's backyards,
所以当你看到人后院所搭的那个帐篷的时候，
that booth won't just be in our backyard.
那个帐篷不只是在他们的后院而已，
That booth will cover the earth.
那个最终那个帐幕会遮满全地，
And we will be inside that booth, and we will see him face to face.
所以我们都会在这个帐幕里面，我们会面对面的与神相见。
There's nothing to remember anymore.
你也不需要再记得以前所发生的，
There's no remembering because there's just rejoicing.
因为你不用再想以前的，因为在那里只剩下了喜乐，
Because he's unleashed his presence.
因为神把他的显现都放出来了，
There's no more silence.
也没有任何的静默了。
He's not far away.
神也不再与我们远离了，
He's not aloof.
神也不是跟我们很遥远了。
We see him face to face.
我们乃是可以与他面对面相见的。
That is the great promise that the church carries with her in her heart.
这就是教会里面应该所存留的盼望，
A foreshadowing of this wonderful celebration that is yet to come.
就是说到了那个我们将要来的这个庆祝。
God joins with us in celebrating a redeemed creation.
所以神会与我们这些所被救赎的受造者一起庆祝。
When God tabernacles amongst us, then there's no remembering, just rejoicing.
当神与我们住在一起的时候，就再也不会想到以前的事，只有喜乐了。
And that's the hope that God has placed in our hearts as we live day to day and month to month and struggle alongside.
就是当我们每日或每月在生活中挣扎的时候，这就是神放在我们里面的一个盼望。
And so it's a privilege to be able to share with you what God is doing among the Jewish people here and around the world.
我也很高兴在这里跟在全世界分享神在犹太人之间所做的工作。
When you walked in, you got one of these. It's a Jews for Jesus involvement card.
当你进来的时候，你手上应该都有这一个犹太人归主协会的这一个你愿意参与的卡片。
If you could just take it out now and wave it to me. So I
如果你
get
可以拿出来向我挥一下。
Very good. You know that we Jews, we love traditions. If there's a family that didn't get one, maybe you could raise your
如
hand.
果你没有拿的话，你可以手举起来，我们很高兴再给你一份。
So you can see that it has a perforation, so fold it back and forth along that perforation.
你可以在那边有一个虚线，你可以这样反复的
And
折
then you
叠
can
一下，
tear it, and you
然后
can
你
see
可
it
以把
has
它分开。
there's two pieces.
这里有两份，
I hope that you'll take the small card home and use it as a reminder to pray.
你希望你把小的这个带回家，让你在祷告中纪念。
There's about 400,000 people in Canada,
在加拿大有40万的犹太人，
about 200,000 in Toronto, 100,000 in Montreal,
差不多有20万在多伦多，然后有10万在蒙特利尔，
about 10,000 here in Ottawa.
在渥太华差不多有1万人。
And Jewish people are hearing the gospel from people like you, their friends and neighbors and classmates.
很多的犹太人也从他们的邻居、从他们的朋友当中听见了福音，
So please share Christ with them and pray for them and pray for Jews for Jesus.
所以希望你为他们祷告，也希望你为了犹太人归主协会祷告。
Please take a minute and fill out that card.
请你花一点的时间把这个卡的后面填写你的资料。
We'd love to send you our e-blasts and our regular newsletter.
我们也很愿意把我们一些的卡片、一些的信息通知你们。
So just take a moment, fill out the card, and you can drop it in the love offering after the presentation.
所以在我们这个结束之后，你可以把这个卡片放在后面的奉献的袋子那里。
Jews for Jesus is in 26 cities and 16 countries.
然后犹太人归主协会在26个地方都有，
We're reaching out to Jewish people every day and meeting with them one-to-one.
所以每一天呢，我们都接触很多的犹太人，我们跟他们1对1的交谈。
In restaurants and prisons, online, in chat rooms, we're opening the scriptures with them and leading them into the kingdom of God.
可能在这个餐厅，可能在线上，或者是在监狱里面或任何地方，希望能够让他们来接触福音。
Our newest initiative has been to open up a new office in Jerusalem.
我目前正希望在耶路撒冷开始一个新的办公室。
And I brought a short video with me this evening to share with you some of what we're doing in Jerusalem.
今天晚上我带给你们看一段很短的视频，就是我们现在正在耶路撒冷所努力的。
Now, maybe when you think of Israel, you think of violence and you think of terrorism.
可能想到以色列，就是想到恐怖攻击啊，想到那些战争的事。
But when you think of Israel, I want you to think of the gospel.
但你想到了耶路撒冷，可不可以想到关于福音？
I want you to think of Israelis and Palestinians hearing and responding to the gospel.
你为什么能想到以色列人跟那些巴勒斯坦人，可以同样的都对福音有回应？
I know that the Alliance has some really great work going on in Israel and in Palestine.
你可以说，那个协议在犹太人跟巴勒斯坦人之间正在努力当中。
So I want to show you this very short video, and I hope that it would encourage you as to what God is doing in Israel and specifically in Jerusalem.
我想给你们看一段视频，讲到神正在以色列当中，特别是在耶路撒冷，神在做的工作。